So I saw the Dragon Ball Daima, the first episode. Yo, why did no one tell me it was going to be this lit? So we're talking about Dragon Ball Daima, the first episode. So if you're not caught up, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. So Dragon Ball Daima, episode 1. What are my thoughts? What do I think about it? Honestly, bro, this show is actually not that bad. This show is actually pretty good. It's actually not that bad. Now, I will say, though, I am a little bit like... Here's the thing about Dragon Ball Daima, though. This first episode was... I'm not going to say solid. It does have some... like, half of the episode is basically just a recap. And then, like, the plot of the episode is kind of dumb. You know what I mean? But we're gonna get into that. So we're gonna talk about Dragon Ball Daima. So first of all, what are my general thoughts about this episode? I thought it was magnificent in terms of animation and art style. Brother, the animation was spectacular. I don't know if it's gonna continue having this quality. If it does, brother, this is what Dragon Ball Super should have been from the start. The art style is so great because it matches the late Akira Toriyama's current art style. Akira Toriyama's art style changed a lot, in recent years, and it was very much different. And I liked that Dragon Ball Daima kind of kept that kind of suited Akira Toriyama's current art style into this, and you can tell just by the way that the eyes are made. They're a little bit rounder, like they're not like they don't have sharp edges. They're a little bit rounder. Goku's gi is much different. The colors are much more vibrant. So, bro, this is like a really good beginning manga. This is like a beginning manga. This is like a very good first episode because it showed us kind of like the art style that they're gonna have. And I think it was very like my biggest gripe with this episode is the fact that half of the episode is just a recap of the events of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. That's basically the entire episode, just a fucking recap. And I'm like, that's fine, dude. But like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's fine that it's like a recap, but can you give me a little bit something more? You know what I mean? So yeah, in terms of that, that's what I have to say about the episode. Like half of the episode is just a recap, and it's fine. It's not fine because like, bro, like I literally ate up like half of an episode worth of recap. But I will say that recap was pretty good because it kind of, for me, though, it served the purpose of showing us what the new animation is going to look like, to kind of get us used to this new type of like art style and like this type of animation. Because, bro, like if it's this art style, I would love a damn remake of the OG Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z with this art style and animation, because it was immaculate. You don't know how fucking much I enjoyed watching this recap. It was kind of dumb to have half an episode worth of recap, but I almost shat my pants when I saw Gohan with this new art style and going up against Boo. Oh my god, bro. It's so good though. But that's, even though I enjoyed it, I think it's a pretty bad thing for like a first episode to just be like a complete recap. But the animation and art style was good enough to keep me invested. But I did find myself kind of skipping forward, But the reason that, the recaps were there, it was basically because this new King of the Underworld, which King Goma, I think that's his name, Goma, he is kind of looking at what's happening on Earth, and he gets to the Buu Saga, and then Dabura gets dealt in by Majin Buu and everything, and so he's a new king. And so again, the premise of this show seems kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen per se, because they didn't quite say it in like the first episode, unless I missed something, unless I stopped paying attention, which I probably did. So if I missed something, like, please leave it in the comments, because I probably missed something, because I kind of was falling asleep, because it was like half an episode of just recap. I was enjoying it, but I was kind of like not paying attention at the same time. But the premise is basically King Goma is afraid because his Supreme, his Kai, the dude that he has there, I don't know, I forgot his name. The dude that he has there, basically tells him, yo, like, what if these guys come to the demon realm and they start fucking shit up? And so King Goma's like, oh shit, well, I guess the best way to get rid of them is just like turn them into kids. And I'm like, how do you even know they're gonna go to the demon realm? Like, I don't think they've ever been interested in that. Like, what makes you think they're gonna come? Like, you know what so it's kind of like a dumb premise, because like you don't know if they're gonna get to the demon realm. So like, why are you so sure that's gonna happen? You know. But again, even though it's a dumb premise, it is very Dragon Ball-ish, because it's not taking itself very seriously. And I mean, from what I saw from the trailer, we're gonna have an actual fucking adventure. Like, again, this feels very much like OG Dragon Ball. Like, we're gonna have a fucking adventure, and I'm down to clown with that idea. Like, I am down for that idea. So yeah, the premise is kind of dumb, kind of ridiculous, but it's kind of dumb funny. I'm here more for like the animation, the art style, and for the adventure aspect, because one of the things that I loved about Dragon Ball, as a kid, I don't remember much about Dragon Ball, but one of the things that I liked about Dragon Ball when I watched it and read it as a kid, was like the sense of adventure, because it really felt like it was like a Journey to the West type thing. Like, it felt like it was an adventure. And then I played Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure, and it felt like that. Then I played the Dragon Ball Origins for the DS, and it felt like everything about Dragon Ball, OG Dragon Ball, reminds me of like adventure, you know. And that's kind of what I feel like we're gonna get with Dragon Ball Daima. So the premise is kind of ridiculous, it's kind of silly. The plot, again, the premise and the plot do seem kind of silly, ridiculous, but I'm down if the art and animation stay this consistent, and if we get an adventure. If I can get those three things, I will be satisfied with the series. Because again, and I want to make this very clear to like people that are going to criticize this. Don't watch Dragon Ball for plot. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you. Dragon Ball is like not a show or a series or an anime or a manga that you should watch for the plot. You should mostly watch it for like the hype ass moments and like the fights, because I'm not the biggest Dragon Ball fan, but I do watch it though. But I watch it not taking it too seriously and just kind of enjoying the hype ass moments and like the fights. Like with Dragon Ball, the best thing that you can give me is great animation, great art style, and great fights. If you can give me that and hype ass moments, if you can give me that, I'm satisfied. And again, that doesn't mean I'm going to justify everything happening in Dragon Ball Daima. Like, obviously not. If you notice from this first review, I do kind of call out the fact that 15 minutes, so like half of the first episode is a recap, and then that the plot, the premise is very fucking silly. But I'm gonna enjoy it if it has, again, those three things: great art style, great animation, and if it has a really great adventure-ish plot. Now let's talk about some very specific things about this episode that I guess don't bug me, but like kind of happened. First of all, I don't know what's the timeline for Dragon Ball Daima. I don't even know if this is canon. As far as I know, Dragon Ball Daima is very much canon, because this was worked by the late Akira Toriyama himself. So it is a canon project. And as far as I know, it takes place after... It's a very funny thing. I imagine that it takes place after Kid Buu, but before Battle of Gods. I want to imagine that it takes place during that time. Now, there was a leaked image, a spoiler if you will, of a transformation for Goku. Again, I don't want any more retcons. So like in this first episode, we already have a retcon for Dragon Ball Super, actually. So in and that's, Kibito and Kibito Kai, and Kibito and the Supreme Kai. So what ended up happening was that in Dragon Ball Super, we get the answer that, they were able to separate because they used the Dragon Balls to wish them apart. I thought that kind of made sense. I thought it was like, sure, like that makes a lot of sense. If you use the Dragon Balls to separate yourselves, like fine, that could make a lot of sense. And then in Dragon Ball Daima, we get the answer that apparently, they asked Buu to eat them to like absorb them and then spit them out. And apparently, and this is the part that I thought was kind of ridiculous. Like apparently, Boo's like purple smoke releases a type of magic or something that negates the effects of the Potara. It's fucking weird, right? What I like about this explanation is they use something that is canon within the story to justify that. So I feel like if they would have just kept it, like, again, I don't watch Dragon Ball for the plot. Just tell me that Kid Buu absorbed them and through some sort of magic, like, boom, like they got separated. Whatever. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't really care. I don't care why these two are separated or not. You know what I mean? And there are a lot of retcons to the story, like with the rich OG Potaras. Like it turns out that they separated because that's the whole thing, right? Like in the OG Dragon Ball, in like in Dragon Ball Super, they explained that it wasn't that Buu separated them when they were absorbed. It's just that they exceeded the time limit because it's not permanent for mortals. So that's why this explanation of the fact that Buu's like smoke releases some type of magic that negates the effect of the Potara is very much just a retcon, because we were explaining the Zamasu arc, from what I remember, that it's not that Buu separated them, it's just that their time limit ran out, because for mortals it's not permanent. So I felt like the explanation for, like, you know, them just using the Dragon Balls to separate themselves was fine. Like it was okay. I didn't think it was, you know. And also there's a little bit of a retcon, because from what I remember, the like Goku mentions in Super that they were separated, and now here they are separated. It's a very weird thing. Like in terms of continuity, everything is fucked. Everything is very weird. So that's like a gripe that I have. And I don't want to go back and rewatch everything for Dragon Ball Super just to get this continuity thing, because it doesn't matter. It's the Supreme Kai and Kibito. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? So it's just whatever. But yeah, if somebody could explain that to me, I would be very much appreciated, because I am not an expert at Dragon Ball. So yeah. Anyway, what do you guys think about this first episode? I thought it was pretty solid in terms of animation, art style. And yeah, those two things I enjoyed. Give me your thoughts, your opinions, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.